Hello, and welcome to another episode of Business News for the Average Person. My name is Nicholas, your host. It is Wednesday, February 9th, and I'm gonna focus more on stocks today because it's earnings season and a lot of mixed news, and I want to talk about what it means for you, the average person, be it for what to expect for the economy and the job market going ahead in 2022, as well as what it might mean for your 401k and stock investments. So, without further ado, let's talk about this. And later this week, when I have the time, I will talk more about the general economy and the job market. So very quickly here, I want to talk about Lyft. The rideshare company, its revenue jumped 70% as higher fares offset fewer riders. Um, fewer people taking rideshare, probably because there aren't enough drivers to go around, and each passenger is paying on average more, right? Not a surprise there. And I can tell you this, with car price use and new car prices the way they are, this is going to continue to be the case. I'm gonna say the next couple of years. So this is good news for people that are doing rideshare, part time or full time. I'm not saying that it's a great living. Rideshare notoriously underpays its drivers, but if you are already doing it, I think things are going to be on the upswing. If you are not doing it and are on the fence about doing that, this is not a bad time to get into it, because with car prices as they are, used and new, people are not going to be buying cars. They're going to rely more on rideshare, right? Okay, next thing here, Taco Bell parent Yum Brands. So Yum Brands owns Taco Bell and I believe yep, okay, KFC and Pizza Hut. Yep, I was right. So what does it say? Yum Brands misses earnings estimates as higher costs weigh on profits. So, well, ingredients cost more, labor costs more. So what's going on here? I think you might expect them to raise prices to make up for the losses, or should not losses, but the decrease in earnings as well as the stock prices, right? Otherwise, the CEO will be given the boot. So yeah, and you can imagine this is probably not just unique to those three restaurants. You're gonna see, food prices, fast food, casual dining, and so on, going to continue to increase prices. And this may or may not affect the job market because now they're going to stop raising wages as much, right? Very easy to control costs by holding labor costs down. You're unlikely to see labor wages get cut. Wages are very sticky upwards, so to speak. You raise them, it's very hard to um, lower them, right? So what might end up happening is these companies may end up investing in more technology and retooling of their processes and systems, find ways to cut costs, okay? But in the meantime, for the average person, expect dining out to get more expensive. CVS, fourth quarter earnings, top expectations is COVID vaccines, lift overall store sales. This obviously, temporary. As more and more people get vaccinated, get boosted, and probably the time in between booster shots going to decrease. Yeah, that's going to go away, but that is good news for them. We are what I call a COVID economy. A lot of things around healthcare and tools and systems and processes, things revolving around not catching COVID or mitigating the effects of getting it. Okay. I already talked about Lyft. Skip that. Peloton replacing CEO, cutting close to 3,000 jobs. I kind of predicted that in my last episode. I don't think this is a surprise here. The stay at home stocks, right, going down. So yeah, they're gonna cut jobs. Is this going to be the beginning of more layoffs to come? I don't think so, because as you'll see here later, as I talk about more of other companies, as well as later this week, the job market, the signs are not quite there that layoffs are going to be a thing anytime soon. All right, BNP Paribas, that is, it does business as the Bank of the West name in North America, and did very well. And actually, we can also talk about some of the bank stocks here. Do I have them? Nope, I talked about them last week. So yes, banks are doing very well. Um, Crazy a market we have here, right? Banks are doing very well because interest rates have been relatively low. People are borrowing, people are starting new businesses. Business banking is the place to be. Okay, Spirit and Frontier Airlines plan to merge as if we haven't had enough of canceled flights. Yeah, so yeah, this is probably gonna get scrutinized by the Department of Justice for antitrust reasons, and this is good for them to cut costs. Is it gonna be good for consumers? Don't think so. Of course, when there's less competition, consumers in generally tend to not benefit, right? So it'll take a few years. I mean, back in, is it 2010? United and Continental merged, and the last bits of the merger finished up in what, the mid 2010s. So they're just now talking about it. It's going to get scrutinized. They're going to talk about, rationalizing the operations, cutting costs. But this is a good time for airlines to be merging. We're talking about mergers because there are a lot of new employees, right? Because a lot of people, flight attendants, for example, and pilots got laid off, and uh, 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 or well, took early retirement and haven't come back. And a lot of the newer employees, obviously, they're cheaper. So and probably, I want to say, but I could be wrong about this, have less rights, right? Than, as compared to the legacy employees. So so it, yeah. Anyway, Amazon shares surge, are gaining value. Yeah, very good for them. They're also increasing the Prime memberships. This probably got to, yeah, these are probably tied, right? Because anytime a huge company announces an increase in their pricing, yeah, look at Dollar Tree, right? They announced they're going to increase prices from $1 to $1.25. Stock prices increases. So, and for the average person, now that they have tasted the convenience of Amazon and the choices of Amazon that has been offering for the last 2 years because of the pandemic. Um, I really don't think that an increase of $20 a year for the average household is gonna, cause them to cancel it. I mean, Amazon Prime means what? Free shipping for so many things, 2 day shipping even in a lot of cases. The convenience is very, very much worth paying for. And frankly, I'm surprised they did not do that early in the pandemic. See, it says here last raised price in 2018, right? When it bumped, so it was $99 before then it went up to 119 now, increasing it at $20. So yeah, but I think most households will probably find it worthwhile to pay for. Not a surprise, right? What is this? $10 essentially, a month for not needing to go out to buy things, to wait for it to be delivered to your house. So yep. Okay, Amazon clothing, still on Amazon news. Amazon clothing store to open at Americana Mall in Glendale. That should be Glendale, California, I believe. So yeah, you can expect as they continue to expand their offerings and diversify their sources of revenue, their stock prices will continue to increase. Nintendo Switch sales top 100 million. So this is one of those stay-at-home stocks, right? Or products. You know. So it's just saying that it has sold more units of the Switch since early 2017, 5 years ago, as compared to the Wii, which I believe they don't make anymore. I don't know. I'm not one of the cool kids. I don't game. Yep, yep. The company no longer produces the Wii. So it's just saying, people are going to continue to play games. I think when people were stuck at home, they discovered these things. Kids discovered these things. Um, yeah, then it's going to stay around. This is not something that you just usually just toss aside after you buy it and play with it for a couple of years, right? Most people don't do that. Facebook stock falls. Why? Yeah, number of users fell. Frankly, I'm surprised this didn't happen earlier because of the political turmoil and the unfriending of people, all the bad press about social media, the evils of social media, how they track us, how they knew the harm that was caused to teens, and they didn't do anything about that. All the bad press. So, Facebook at the end of the day is a marketing company. It can pivot really quickly. And one of those things that's affecting them is Apple's decision in a couple of updates ago decided to make tracking of iPhone users opt in rather than opt out. So this is, I guess you should say, comes as no surprise. So, this has got nothing to do with COVID, obviously. It's more of a user privacy thing. I'm curious to see how they would pivot. And again, at the end of the day, they are an advertising giant, global advertising industry, right? They're in that industry. So they'll probably raise prices to advertise. Although it makes me wonder with labor prices, the raw ingredients as hard to and products, final products to sell, as hard to come by as they are, you know, demand as strong as consumer demand as strong as it is. Do companies bother advertising? That may be a thing, right? Because companies are facing all these price increases they may not be advertising as much. Anyway, yeah. So this just explains why. Toyota remains world's largest car seller. Yeah. Vehicle sales rose 10%. Blah blah blah. I read in another article. I don't have it here. That they could have sold more, but they could not produce enough. So, and later this week, I have an article to discuss where it talks about how the car shortage is expected to continue for the next couple of years. So, by the way, continue spending money to maintain your car because if you need to replace it, yeah, it's going to be very difficult and expensive. If you need to sell it in a couple of years, yeah, the better maintained it is, the more money you'll get for it. UPS earnings up from 11.5% from last year. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, good for them. Again, no surprise. Demand has soared, and so on and so forth. And people bought a lot of stuff, right? For during the holidays, just in case they didn't get some things in time. So, good news for them. Logistics companies are going to continue to do well in the COVID economy. And as our national and international economy continues to be restructured because, frankly, the pandemic has exposed a lot of holes, gaping holes in our global logistics chain. It is going to be interesting to see what will happen with this. Okay, next two articles I have are, the big tech companies. Okay, Apple shares went up, right? Because Tim Cook is a very good is very good with his logistics. So Apple apparently hasn't been as badly affected as it otherwise could have been because of the supply chain disruptions, right? So yeah, Apple, I don't see it going down anytime soon. Didn't they hit $3 trillion in market capitalization, which means theoretically, if you want to buy Apple, you need to come up with $3 trillion. Okay, so Tim Cook doesn't seem to be going anywhere. At the same time, he is also not coming up with new products. A lot of people complain, unlike with Steve Jobs. So, yeah, but you know what? In this crazy world that we live in today, surviving is probably the top priority. Thriving is a bonus. Okay, Apple has 1.8 billion active devices. Okay, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's why. Okay, people are not spending as much money on experiences, so they spend money on things, right? No surprise. Alrighty, next two articles are Google. Okay, this is more of an international news thing, but they're investing another $1 billion in India's smartphone market. So yeah, that's where they think they want to grow. That is great for them because obviously India has a large and growing middle class. Um, Alphabet, which is Google's parent company, I $2 trillion value, right? So again, share search, um, so they're gonna hit the 2 trillion if they haven't, because this was a few days ago. This was last week, and but isn't it interesting to see how both in different ways. I'm generalizing here for the sake of comparison, but Alphabet or Google makes its money from advertising. So does Facebook. Isn't it interesting how uh, Google's usage, Google's stock price has gone up, whereas Facebook has gone down? Um, yeah, it tells you that Google is, of course, Google does a lot more things than Facebook. It tells you that Google is doing some things right. Facebook might probably copy them, right? Finally, Tesla, to end of today, Tesla recalls nearly 54,000 vehicles that may disobey stop signs. Didn't Elon Musk dump a huge number of volume of stocks last year? All these bad news about Teslas coming out I think it is no coincidence. I would not be surprised. I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong here. Who knows? The guy's rich, right? And I would not be surprised if the SEC, which is the Regulatory Security Exchange Commission, I think that stands for. Well, the regulatory authority, the body that oversees the stock market. I would not be surprised if the SEC is already and will announce that they are investigating insider trading by Elon Musk. Because the timing is just very suspicious. What does this mean? Well, it does mean for the average person, if you don't own Tesla stock, that yeah, self-driving is not complete self-driving is not going to be a reality in the next few years, which means, by the way, Uber and Lyft, right? Which brings me back to what I was talking in the beginning of this episode, which is if you're already driving Uber on the fence, it may not be a bad medium term or short term thing to do. And Uber stocks, if and when they finally make their first dollar of profit, um, yeah, they may be sustained. Anyway, that is it for business news for the average person. Again, my name is Nicholas. Please consider subscribing and liking and sharing the video. Feel free to comment. Let me know what you like to see, what you like me to discuss, what you do not like. This channel is relatively new, and I hope to grow it and share my knowledge of the broader economy with the average person, and so present it in an informative and easy to digest way so the average person doesn't get bored or scared off by business news. Thank you so much. Have a great day.